Hi everyone, welcome back to JP WHU TV live on YouTube and Periscope. So therefore you guys are seeing it on Twitter as well. My name is John, your host as always, and I thought I'd bring these guys back out that way. Where is it? Yeah, that way. Where are we? Down for there, up for there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I thought I'd bring these back, guys, because I haven't used this for a while. And then, to be honest with you, it did prompt me to use it because I got an email from the sponsor today saying that over the last year since we've had the sponsorship with 3retro.com, there's only been 6 transactions. 5 of those the money's already been given to Isla's Fight. So guys, come on, we've had nothing for the last 3 months. Nobody's bought a bloody thing. So links are in the description below. I know I haven't been promoting it very much as a result, but it's a catch-22 of it all. But guys, it's very vital because I say at the end of the day, any commission that the channel gets for any purchase made through 3retro.com, I've got to start getting used to doing this again. Any commission that the channel gets through the purchases you guys make, I'll be sending on to the NHS. So by all means, please do make your purchase. And really good to be honest with you guys, some of the 1975 retro gear that Admiral and Umbro have made, much better than the club, and much better quality as well, for that matter, guys. So get shopping, because apparently 3 Retro have been saying, because of all the classic football that's been going on, there's been a lot of they've been doing a lot of business, which is good. They keep that business is keeping steady. It's good, but there's not just West Ham stuff in there as well. There's very nice England retro gear as well. Basically, any purchase you make through that link, doesn't matter what item you purchase. Even for some of you guys that aren't West Ham, there's literally loads of really, really nice retro gear in there, guys. There's a really nice Ian Rush Liverpool shirt is in there as well. It's really nice stuff. We're going to talk about some of the more concepts shirts that have come out recently as well. But as always, guys, let's just start off by saying hello to everybody. Harry's in the chat. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Andy, I'm impressed. Right from the knock-ins. I'm impressed with that, mate. Didn't think you were going to do it, but welcome. Rick, hello, mate. Hope you're doing all right. The starting 11 Patreon for the channel. Thank you, mate. Mark is back. Ginger Man's back. Hope you're doing all right. Sophian's back as well. D Lee's in the house as well. Hello, mate. It froze there for a second, and still is. And there we go. Edm's comments come up as well. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Janaway, Kreseva, hello. Welcome to the channel. Jana says, eating my tea and watching the stream. Lovely. I'm glad you're enjoying it, mate. Sofian says, oh, classic football shirts. Oh, I've been looking for one, but can't find any in my size. Have a look anyway, sunshine. Have a look. Robbie's in. Hello, Rob. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing all right. Ariane says, have you heard of the breaking news of 4 players getting tested positive for corona rather than corona? No, I haven't. Peter, welcome, mate. Did you get my email? What email address? I haven't given you an email address, I'm afraid, mate. I gave you the contact details for Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, but that's it. Ian Saltz, hello, mate. Hope you're doing all right. So, Arian, we've got a lot to talk about, an absolute bundle of stuff to talk about. But let me just have a look on this to see where you're talking about, because I checked everything before we went live, and there was nothing breaking at all. I'm just looking on BBC website now, and there's no new news whatsoever. So maybe the 4 you're talking about was a couple of days ago, but there's nothing about it. So in case Nick pops in the chat over the last 4 days, in case Nick pops in he probably won't, because he's probably watching the Bundesliga because it's kicking off in a minute. But it's half time between Leipzig and Hertha Berlin. It's 1-1. Okay, so let's crack on with the first thing. For those that didn't watch the government's broadcast, which was late, as they always are, test and trace has officially commenced. It's probably starting tomorrow, but they have confirmed it's being launched as of tonight, but starts 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, there's very few people in here which will understand which will understand what's going on. But basically, in what I'm referring to it, because this is a very Orwellian 1984 story style, keeping a trace on everybody. Now, for a lot of Londoners, it's not going to make much of a difference because we've been traced where we're going pretty much ever since the Oyster card was invented. What was it? 12, 14, where are we? 15, 16 years ago now. So that traces you wherever you're going. Your cards trace you wherever you're going as well, for that matter, which is why your bank will randomly do security checks to check that any new transactions that don't appear on your normal list. We've been tracked for a good couple of decades. Now, as far as I understand it, it is. I understand the reasons behind it. I get it. But I really hope that once all this is over, we stop using it. I really do, because I'm not afraid of people knowing where I am under any circumstances, but there are people that are for one reason or another. But yeah. Now, the information I did see was early this morning, because as we know, as we talked about over on Monday and a little bit yesterday, is the fact that the Premier League clubs were all the heads of them were all meeting today to make a decision on what they were going to do for the next training schedule. And of course, they've voted to do contact training. So pretty much as much as normal is that they've basically agreed to train as a group and engage in tackling whilst minimizing unnecessary close contact. Now, that's an interesting thing. That's very interesting. What is necessary and unnecessary close contact? Is marking somebody on a corner classed as necessary or unnecessary close contact? It's quite ambiguous, so it'd be interesting to see what you guys will think about this. Sophie Ann says, John, have you spoken about Cummings? No, because I'm trying to keep politics out of it. That's slightly different. What I will say is the fact that they haven't I've mentioned many times that he didn't break the rules, because the rules have said, unless you not to travel unless you absolutely have to, and apparently he did. So that's all I'm saying. Kent says, John, did you watch the Gary Lewin interview? Yes, I did, mate. I watched it at lunchtime earlier this morning, I should say. Very good, really good interview. Didn't really have anything really to. Leno, hello, Jake. Oh, wait, and yeah, no politics, please. Agreed. Completely agreed. Ariane says, do I have the FOTMob app? No, I don't think we can get it over here. I've never heard of it before. D. Lee says, Martha Masuaku, I'm guessing, will be brilliant at non-unnecessary close contact. Richard Thomas is back. Hello, mate. Good to see you again. You were in here yesterday. Welcome back. Ian's back. Hello, Ian. Good to see you as well. Foe's in as well. Hello, guys. Nick Kerr says, let's keep our fingers crossed that when we return to football, a minimum amount of casualties as possible. Yeah, that's what that's what we hope at the best of times. Ian Cook says, Sky Sports News reporting 4 positive tests from 3 different clubs. There's not. Let me have a look on Sky Sports News as everyone's talking about it. I mean, I haven't seen anything. Then again, I don't. There's websites I don't like to have a look at, because Sky Sports is definitely one of them. I can't stand that channel. I really can't. But yes, a lot of the time they do get things. They do get advances on the information. 4 more people from 3 Premier League clubs, as Ian was saying, have tested positive for coronavirus over the 3rd round of testing. It's not yet known whether the 4 new positive tests are players, non-playing staff, or a combination of both, or whether any of the positives are from people who tested positive in the 1st round who have returned after self-isolating for 7 days. Yeah, so So the Premier League can confirm that on Monday, the 25th of May, and Tuesday, the 26th of May, 1,008 players and club staff were tested. Of these, 4 have tested positive from 4 clubs. From 3 clubs. Players or club staff who have been tested will now self-isolate for a period of 7 days. Guys, you know my feelings on that. 7 days. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see a bit more information, because more information will come out in a little while. Harry says Foot Mob is in England. Fine, I'll have a look. As I say, I never heard of it before. Andy uses it. Fair enough. Right, because you kids obviously have more time on your hands than I do just to look at this stuff. But as I said, it'd be interesting to see. Now, bearing in mind, because of the training, Gary Neville has been very vocal, as he always is, as has Graham Souness and a lot of other people. Because I watched the interview they did this morning, when they're talking where they're talking about how much training is needed before players will be fit enough to play football. And Gary Neville reckons it's 2 to 3 weeks. Souness reckons 3 to 5, but as both of them have said, it's all dependent on the different levels of people's fitness all the time. So that from that point of view, yeah, it's good. But the minimum is basically the time it's going to take for everybody for the league to start. Now, this is interesting, because I know you guys have seen this a lot recently, and it's going to be hard to swallow when the league starts. It really is going to be hard to swallow. This schedule that everyone's got up, because for basically the first weekend, I don't know if you guys, I know you guys have probably seen some of this, but haven't seen it completely. Saturday and Sunday kickoffs are basically every 2 hours from 12 p.m. So it's 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8 p.m. over the Saturday and the Sunday. And randomly, Tuesdays and Wednesdays as well, at 6 and 8 p.m. Now that's a lot to choose from. Guys, I mean, what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on this? Is this more of a case of it's being it's over egging the pudding, but in from one point of view, but it's interesting to see that the Premier League has confirmed. Well, hasn't really confirmed, but they've discussed. They have discussed that they're happy to scrap over the 3 o'clock kickoff blackout, shall we say? As we've talked about previously. But yeah, for those who just want to watch football, it's great. For those who because it gives you carte blanche to sit on the sofa for 10 hours watching football back to back, completely back to back. So you're not missing anything. It's a great idea from that point of view. You're not missing anything. Really not missing anything. It's going to be really good. It's really good to do this. I mean, it's obviously the whole first 10 games are all going to be all on the same day from what I'm reading. So that'd be very, very interesting. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. D. Lee says, I heard Sanchez caught COVID-19 but lost it in midfield. Leonard says, later games are okay with this girl. I might get a sleep in. Well, yeah, quite, because what is it? You'll be awake at what, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the midday games, or 6 or 7 o'clock, whenever it is. I can never remember the times taps is. D. Lee says, watching football without fans will be a struggle. I only watch West Ham, so that's why. Yeah, I'm be exactly the same as you, mate. Harry says, but no matter how much training there is, you just know the one weekend of football those players are going to be tired, because match fitness is different than just training. Agreed. You'd be 70, but nobody's match fit. No one's ever match fit. Fo says football marathon sounds bloody marvelous. Sophie says, I don't mind sitting on the sofa for 10 hours watching football, to be honest, John. Shall we all come round yours? I can bring the drinks. Well, I've got a huge screen, guys. I've got a huge screen to watch football on. Lena says, yeah, 4:30 a.m. for early games. So yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning for the midday, literally midday kickoffs. Karen, another ginger in for you. Hello, mate. Hello, Karen. UK. Andy's so just told my missus about games kickoff. I got a very bad look. How long have you been waiting to say that since that broke this morning, mate? How long have you been waiting to say that? Richard Thomas says, bang goes my exercise regime, beer, football, beer. Sophie says, I feel sorry for your wives who don't watch football. Oh, dear. Right, now, it was confirmed pretty much what I was saying yesterday about Grady Diangana from one point of view. Birmingham Live, or the Birmingham Post, I should say, their website was confirming that Grady has gone back to the Baggies training ground as of today, and he's training with them at the minute, and therefore is going to be seeing the rest of the season with the Baggies, exactly as I predicted. And it'd be good from that. Andy says, we've just had dinner, so dropped it politely into conversation. I wonder how exactly you dropped it. Oh, thanks for the spud, love. By the way, do you know there's 8 hours worth of football? But there's interesting to say that from the photographs we've seen, which I'll show one of the ones up in a minute. There's been no sign of Ogbonna, Antonio, Yeti, or Aaron Creswell so far. Now, the club has been a bit vocal on this via WHU, as they always are. They have confirmed that no player has refused to train, but they've got questions around those 4. So it kind of says to me that they haven't refused, but they haven't accepted it either. For that matter, that's what my instincts are saying. But there's also came out with the bollocks about it's very difficult for the club to capture images of everybody. Bullshit. That's never in a million years. If we do see photographs in the next couple of days, then fair enough. But come on, they're filmed all day. The cameramen and women are out there. They're filming the guys all day to edit a 2 or 4 minute video. It's bullshit. I don't believe it. One word of it whatsoever. Sophie Ann says, Grady Diangana over Lionel Messi, let's be honest, but seriously, I can't wait until he's playing for West Ham. Agreed, 100%. Leonard says, need a husband just so I have someone to ignore for 10 hours. Sophie says, I don't even know what skin color I am, Karen, but I'm mixed between brown and white. Well, that helps, doesn't it? I'm not ginger then, that's for sure. Will the players have more pressure with no fans than with fans? Probably not. I'd say completely the other way around, Darian. I really, really would. I'd say completely the other way around, because the players which again we'll talk about in a minute. Lena says Antonio has a very active social media. He does. Very, very active. He's always on Instagram doing something, or Twitter or stuff. But a picture has come out, because there was a lot of speculation about what's going on with the juniors at the minute, as we talked about yesterday. And you can see here that Ben Johnson is photographed training alongside Lair. Now, let me just make it a bit bigger so you guys can see it properly. Now, so it's good from one point of view. I mean, this looks like this is a sprinting training session that they're going through. And as a result of it, so it's good. It's good to see that the juniors are coming through, and they are getting some run out. Now, of course, this is the only one that's emerged so far that I've been able to find. So yeah, it's It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few days and weeks as it gets closer and closer. The amount there's obviously going to be more and more training footage coming out and seeing Dan Randolph not being able to grab a ball properly and stuff. But it'd be interesting. D. Lee says, here Moyes has put Master Mathawaku on the Save X rocket going to the space station tonight. Okay. Do you like? Lena says, Silva is also training with the first team, apparently. Yes, agreed. Kent Hammer says, JP, what happens if 4 players test positive once they start playing? Surely that affects the integrity of the game if it was to happen. Mate, the integrity's gone. It's gone. It doesn't matter. There's no. I know where you're coming from, but guys, you know this is. It's the integrity of the sport is completely gone under these circumstances. It's almost like the equivalent. It's almost, and I stress the almost, the equivalent of asking the football game to go on while the Second World War was going on. It's that stupid. That's how I class it. It's that stupid. Andy says that's because it's hard to get a photograph of different things, players. Exactly. Yeah. So again, the club are only releasing what they want you to see, not the full lot. D. Lee says Ben Johnson is the player I'm most excited to see. You guys, please sort your autocorrects out. But yeah, it's funny. But yeah, agreed. It'd be interesting to see where he does it, because apparently, if Creswell isn't reporting in, and all faith has been shot, shall we say, with Masuaku, then the only logical conclusion is that Ben Johnson's going to be left back for the Wolves game. Now let's talk about. I know that this will get your attention because not many people are talking properly about what I'm talking about as usual. It's fine. Lena says, I miss watching football, but still think they should null and void. Cancel for me, hun. But I know what you mean. Now let's talk about the concept kits, because there's I'll bring up the first one, a new set that Martin Brown's done again. It's the same guy that I showed the information for from when we talked about it last week. All right, this is the home kit. I don't think you can. Yeah, you can just about see it. So for those that are listening and not watching, he's cheekily put on the MRF tyre sponsorship on the on the sleeve again to mask over Bassett and Gold, which again we will come on to in just a minute. So as you see here, it's got the similar neckline. It's pretty much copying the neckline we had of the shirt that we had when we moved to the London Stadium. So the season after the move, I should say. There's dark lines running across it, claret on the sleeves at the bottom with the Umbro in sky blue, and the Umbros. I think it's all right. I'm not a big fan of it, if I'm honest. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't really like it all that much. I mean, I can see the next one, the home kit. Sorry, the away kit. Same neck, white, with a claret and blue across the Betway striping. I quite like. Why couldn't use a photograph of? Why have used a photograph of it being grey rather than white? I mean, it's so all he's done is just it's done well, to be fair. But yeah, it's interesting. This one, as I say, I quite like the striping, but again, it's boring from my point of view. And the third one, Christ Almighty, yeah, black with the claret stripes, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either myself, to be honest with you. So that's the marking that he's done. As I say, it's clearly. I mean, as Sophie Anderson said, by the way, I don't think he Don't think he makes them into searches for them. Yeah, agreed. But as I say, because he's put them up, and quite, because you can quite clearly see it's designfootball.com in the website address. But he's putting them up for people to look at, and people are losing their shit thinking these are legitimate ones. They're not. This is why we talked about it last time. They're not official shirts. They are what people are drafting up. So let's have a look to see what everyone's saying about it. Leonard says too busy. Agreed. Sofian says that looks horrible, mate, but I'm guessing about the home strip. Foe says he really likes it. D. Lee says the best ever kit was the 1980s strip Adidas kit. Yeah, I agree. Ian says I prefer the weeks. Not sure what you mean by that, mate, to be honest with you. The weeks. Karen really likes the home strip as well. Ian says doesn't look great, to be honest. This season's kits are much nicer. Agreed. Ian says I prefer the away top. Yeah, out of the three, it is the better one. Agreed. D. Lee says the third one is rank. It is. Foe says he really likes the third concept kit. Ariane says you. Sofian says I saw a blackout kit with a special anniversary badge. It a blackout kit. I mean, not all black kit, I'm guessing. It looked fab. Andy says none of them got my vote, to be honest. Mark says don't buy one, get a retro top instead via the link. Agreed. Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks for doing my job for me. Now, there's another one that came out now that the Indian Hammers put up on their Twitter account as well. That actually made it to Clarity here, and apparently the powers that be apparently the article says thumbs up. Now this, I really do like. I'm literally speechless. Whoever put this together, it's a work of genius. It really is. Because they've gone back. He's made it look now, as we said on the original when we talked about this last night. I said the one thing I want to do is go back to the old West Ham style badge, and this is exactly what this person's done. Done it with a. Let me just see if I can zoom it in for you. So it's not the best of qualities they put up, bless them, but yeah. So you got so underneath it, you've got the anniversary banner, which I really do like. I like the dark burgundy around the shoulders. The neckline, I'm a big fan of a high top neckline, which is basically the 60s design. I really like that. And as I say, having the NHS on the sleeves is an absolute touch of genius. I really like that idea. And as Dealey quite rightly says, white shorts too, beautiful. Yes, it looks superb. I would love that to come out. Kent says, it doesn't matter what people knock up, Umbro will make what they want. Agreed. But there's from what I understand, there was a lot of testing going on behind the scenes over the last year or so to talk about what everybody wanted for this season. So it'd be interesting. And Mark, totally right. Less is more. He says he likes it. Dealers looks proper tasty. Eden says the shirt's good because it's simple. Agreed. Kent likes it as well. Lena loved that kit, very retro. Fosha's old badge in NHS. Sofian, in his infinite wisdom of expression, that all looks all right. It looks all right. To be fair, it looks all right. Ian says that's nice. Rick loves the kit, and he agrees with me. The NHS touch is nice. It's great even. Sofian says, to be fair, it doesn't really affect me as I won't buy it, but the NHS sleeve sponsor looks great. Yeah. Ariane says it's good because it's not crazy. It's just simple, which is what the best kits are. 100%, mate. You absolutely nailed it. Completely nailed it. That's exactly why we love the replica of Adidas one. That, when they replicated the boys of '86 in there, which by the way you can get from here as well for that matter. Here. from here. But yeah, it's really good. I honestly, I love that shirt. I think it looks absolutely superb. Now, going on to what Ariane was talking about, and also what Sofiane was asking as well. There's an article on Football London about the VAR mistake that Dortmund versus Bayern. It basically says, whilst the first 2 weekends of the Bundesliga action flagged up plenty of obvious issues that the I'll see if I can find the bit I'm trying. Obvious issues that the Premier League must learn from when Project Restart reaches its final phase. Yesterday evening's game between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich offered another issue that comes from playing in empty stadiums. About an hour in, with Bayern losing 1-0, Jerome Boateng clearly used his arm to deflect a goal-bound Erling Haaland shot out for a corner. There were no protests from the protestations. I mean, that's a bit too poncy for that thing, but there were no protests from the home players, and the video assistant referee did not flag the issue up. But if that happened in front of a packed yellow wall, which is basically their home ground, there would have been loud, sustained, and justified calls for a penalty. That would have no doubt led to the players remonstrating with the match officials, and from there, who knows? The replays certainly indicated that it was a penalty, and if Haaland had then beaten Manuel Neuer from 12 yards, the trajectory of the game would have turned. We could have been waking up this morning looking at a Bundesliga table with 1 point between the top two rather than 7. Don't see how they get that calculation, but still. Instead, the Dortmund players, clearly unaware that the ball had struck Boateng's arm, quickly took the resulting corner. Now, that's a very, very good point. Now, Sofiane did also say earlier about, where's his comment? Dun, 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 dun. John, did you know that 85% of Bundesliga teams have won since the league resumed have been away from home? Yeah, results. You're right. It's around about Ralph, something is around about 85%. Yeah, you're right from that point of view. Because I was reading the same article this morning. It does say that some teams have dropped points when they wouldn't have done. Some teams have gained points when they wouldn't have done. It's an interesting thing because it's making the game pure. It's making the game pure. There's no intimidation from the crowd to the ref, to the players, to the opposing players, whatever. There's none of that. It's just pure, unadulterated football. Yes, there's no atmosphere, but it's a game how it should be played professionally, more professionally. But as that article clearly proves, VAR, and I've said many, many times, it's the people that use it that need the training. There's nothing wrong with the technology. It's the way it's being used. It's like with everything, you know. If you, it's like me using my using this webcam as a doorstop, you know, and then wondering why it doesn't work properly. You've got to use things right. You've really got to use things right. Lena says, let's hope we keep the Premier League badge for next season. Agreed. Mate says, I've sent you my five concept kits on DMs. Fine, I'll look at that later. D. Lee said, the only protest that matters is the ref, so ref's wrong. Yeah, agreed. Because it wasn't picked up. The whole point of VAR is to make sure that the decisions are being taken correctly, and it wasn't used right in this instance, and that's the problem. Foe says Bain had a 4-point advantage prior to the game, now 7. Fair enough. They could have explained that. As a result of winning, had Dortmund won the gap, the gap would have been reduced to only 1 point. Yeah, I get it. That's cool. Thank you very much, Foe, as always, for correcting me. I'm fine. That's not a problem. I haven't got any issue with anybody correcting me. It's like watching a couple of teams down Hackney Marshes on a Sunday. That's one way of putting it, mate. Yeah. Leonard says clear penalty was Mark Dean on loan. Nick says, who would have thought the season would go like this? It only felt like yesterday Roberto punched the ball into his own net. Sovereign says, to be fair, I think it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Bayern would have won the league anyways. Well, not necessarily, mate. It's never. Nothing is ever set in stone. Nothing is ever set in stone. Liverpool, as unlikely as it could be, could go on a massive, massive loss for the next 9, 10 games that they've got to play. City could overtake them. It's anybody's game at the minute. I mean, mathematically, they've all but won it, which is why they haven't been given we haven't gone down the same route as the French league. But yeah, don't take anything for granted, sunshine. Really don't. Harry says, nice pronunciation. Thank you very much, mate. Always try and get things pronounced as best as possible. Now, talking as Bassett and Gold, as we were talking about earlier. Very, very interesting that the article the Evening Standard had published earlier today. Very, very interesting. Administrators to the collapsed London pension and bond firm Bassett and Gold are examining why countries linked to the founder charged a fee of 20%, potentially at £7 million, for investing its savers' money. The West Ham sponsor collapsed last month amid allegations of mis-selling as it emerged nearly all of the tens of millions of pounds savers had put into the scheme had been invested into loss-making payday lender. And I'm not making this up. I'm going to show you this. I am absolutely not making this up. Let me just, let me just put this up so you can see it. Right, I'm not making this up. 1, 2. Yeah, look at the second paragraph halfway down. I'll repeat that bit. The West Ham sponsor collapsed last month amid allegations of mis-selling, and as it emerged, nearly all of the tens of millions of pounds savers had put into the scheme had been invested into lost payday lender Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck went bust in March, triggering Bassett and Gold's demise. Uncle Buck. Fantastic John Candy film. Brilliant movie with a very, very young Macaulay Culkin. Very young Macaulay Culkin in it. Brilliant film. But why on earth would a company of this level invest in such a stupid idea? This is why I said when it announced, when Dave Trevitt asked me the question when it was announced, I said, and numerous others of us have said the same thing as well. Why aren't they doing diligent backgrounds? Why aren't they checking these companies properly? They just, all they care about is just having the money coming in. It's just unbelievable. Uncle Buck. Tens of millions of pounds invested in a loan payday company, Uncle Buck. You can't make this up. You really, really can't make this up. Oh dear. Honestly, I was laughing the same way I am now when I read it this morning. Brilliant. The article continues. Today, the administrators said they would be investigating why it was that Uncle Buck was contracted to pay 20% of all the money it received from Bassett and Gold to companies owned by the bond firm's founder Hadar Seversky, I think you pronounce that, and an Israeli businessman. Seversky. So yeah, Seversky, Swersky. So Seversky. An Israeli businessman. If the fees were paid in full, Swersky companies would have made £7 million. Sources said such a burdensome fee would have put extra financial strain on Uncle Buck as it tried to repay the high returns demanded by Bassett and Gold. The administrator's report states that the 20% was contracted to be charged to Swersky's company Smartbox Capital or other companies under his common control. The Evening Standard has been unable, funnily enough, to contact Swersky for a comment. Pensioners yesterday told the Evening Standard that they were assured their money was going into helping hundreds of small businesses and claimed no mention had been made of payday loans. Administrators Harrison's Business Recovery and Insolvency today repeated that the Financial Services Compensation Scheme had said it would consider compensation for the claims mis-selling. claims of mis-selling. The administrator said the bondholder funds continued to be invested in UB, Uncle Buck, despite the heavy losses it was making over a number of years. We shall need to investigate the reasons for continuing to invest, given the losses UB, I'm not going to say it again, was incurring, and what due diligence was performed and relied upon over time by the directors of Bassett and Gold. See, that's exactly what I'm saying. Use your brains. Use your brains. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Dealey says... in relation to the next message, I take offence to that fella's comment. I played on Hackney Marshes in the Hackney and Leighton League. Greatest thing COVID-19 was to get Millwall badge off our arm. not related. And Ariane quite easy to sums it up. What the fuck? Mark says gambling people's pension money. You can make the government who were doing it for decades. That's the problem. D. Lee says John Candy was boss. Agreed. Apologies for the warping in and out. It's my website cam's autofocus. Lena says, haha, West Ham sponsor curse continues. Fo says, sounds like boiler room fraudsters. Agreed, mate. 100%. Sofiane says, all we go after is these small companies. Fo says, Uncle Buck was a classic. Sofiane's got to go. See you later, mate. Have a good one. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening, and also rest in peace, George Floyd. I'll have a look at that in a minute. Anyone saying goodbye to Sophie? Now, football. The football transfer tavern. I've done quite a good article because I did say that we'll try and do some pieces of players. Fan opinion on West Ham. Because I was obviously talking about a player a few weeks back. Transfer tavern, we're talking about the left back, I think it was from Fulham as well, which we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, and they've come out again talking about, according to linking the Football Insider article, the 27 they're talking about West Ham are seeking to strengthen their defence in the summer transfer window, as reports. Don't think they're reports. I think they're rumours more than reports. Have suggested that they are keen on bringing in Connor Goldson. The 27-year-old Rangers defender is attracting a lot of interest from the Hammers as well as Leeds United, but Ibrox manager Steven Gerrard hopes the $6 million price tag might be enough to deter clubs from submitting the player. Now, for you guys that love all your stats, because I know there's quite a few in there that do. He's an English centre-back, stands at 6'3", so only a little bit taller than me. Has kept 15 clean sheets in 29 appearances in the Scottish Premier League, according to Transfer Market, which is a fine defensive record for the campaign. This perhaps highlights that the commanding centre-back could now add some much-needed steel to a Hammers defence that has conceded 50 goals in the Premier League this campaign, which is the fourth worst in the division, as well as only keeping 6 clean sheets all season. Now, this is a bit of a worry. Because, as I say, one, it's rumours. It's not reports. Ignore that. It's not reports because I haven't seen it anywhere else at the moment. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting this because now the kid quite rightly likes to see, quite rightly has good stats from that league. But guys, let's be honest. No disrespect to any Scottish football fans watching this, if you are, but it's the SPL. You know, it's the SPL. It's not exactly high tempo with the Premier League. But to be fair, Rangers and Celtic, they get quite far in the Europa League and Champions League respectively when they get in there. So they're not that bad of teams. They're not that bad. Not that brilliant, but they're not that bad. D. Lee says he likes Australian rules. It's mental rule football, that is, mate. He said we'll put a patch on our sleeve like before. Agreed. And Andy says, D-Lee, no, just cut it off and go sleeveless one arm at least. Even Ian, hope you're doing all right, mate. Mark says Goldson looks solid at Rangers. He's their best centre back. Mark English says Rangers done well in Europa. Yeah, thank you, mate. Just backing me up what I'm talking about, which is good. It's always now. Let's say that this latter part, bar one story, I want to talk about because again, I absolutely fucking cracked up when I watched this. Another player. We're us, Burnley, Leicester, Arsenal, and Spurs are all looking for, or looking at, I should say. D-Lee says Rangers and Celtic will finish above us, I believe. Agreed, 100%. But us, Burnley, Leicester, Arsenal, and Spurs are all apparently tracking and interested in bringing in Adam Lallana next season. Now, I want your thoughts on this, guys. Let me know if it's a yay or nay for you guys, because for me, I would take Adam Lallana all day long. I rate him. I really do like the kid. I think he's really good. I honestly, his stuff is just, his football's been brilliant. It was a real shame for when he started his Liverpool career and got that really bad injury for a while. But yeah, I wouldn't say no if it was a free. It's worth a punt. I really think it would be worth it. I mean, Fo was saying that I'd take Goldson for 6 million, definitely worth a punt. Yeah. I think Adam Lallana is a punt as well, for that matter. I wouldn't say no. I think we'd get more football out of him than we did Jack Wilshere, which we'll talk about in a minute. But as Rich is quite rightly saying, yeah, no thanks, Adam Lallana, another injury-prone player. That's the problem. And D-Lee saying the same thing. Lallana injury-prone, a bloody great player, but a liability. Agreed. And that's the thing. That's it. Ian saying the same thing. If he can recapture his form, then yes. Fo saying Goldson and Morelos are quality at Rangers a year, and Durant, I think you pronounce that, are quality at Celtic. Take your word for it, Sunshine. I don't watch that. I might actually start watching the SPL, get some bit of research done. Neil Ross, I would only take him for a season or two. Yeah, not a bad shout, mate. Harry says no, he's good, but he's not young. He's injury prone. We need to target the young. Agreed. Andy says no from him because I want us to compete with a player transfer policy. Sorry, come up with a player transfer policy and stick to it younger and hungrier, which is exactly what Moyes said, which is why I've been saying for weeks, if not months, that next season is going to be very youth focused, very youth focused. But you need to have talent and experience blended together, which is again something I also said recently. Ian Cook says Adam the Llama is overrated in my eyes, plus he's too injury prone. Mark says, swear I got a notification earlier about replacement from Uruguay for Mark Noble. Anyone else? Didn't see it. D. Lee says, for Lallana, pay as you play contract, I'll bite your arm off. And Harry says, again, mixing mine, said, I'll take Adam if Jack leaves. Yeah. Now, also, apparently we're interested in bringing in Timothy Bakayoko from Chelsea, the 19-year-old midfielder. I think it's 19. What were your thoughts on that, guys? Would you take him? I would like to see a player kind of like that with us. Not necessarily him, but I think it would be good. I think I think he could fit in the midfield quite well to a degree. Not a starting 11 all the time. Maybe off the bench every other game sort of thing. But yeah, I would be interesting. I mean, give me your thoughts, guys. Would you take Bakayoko? Fo says, I wouldn't take Lallana. He's old, injury prone, and would demand big money. Very good point, mate. Ian says, Wilshire's apparently fit now, though. If we can get him to finish the season and injury-free pre-season, then we've got one of the best midfielders in the league. It's a big if. Well, it's a big if, mate, and it would have been even bigger if you put it in capitals. But yeah, Ari says, oh yeah, Mark, that was Nandaz. That was on football. We're linked with him in January. So that story's coming around again. So ignore it. Fo says, Atian Nandez has been linked to us again to replace Noble. Yeah, it's rumours. That's all it is. It's rumours. Cheers, Ian. Dear Lisa, the young kid from Brentford, I've only seen no footy fit a while and forgot his name. Cheers, guys. I think I know the guy you're talking about. He's not a bad player. Richard Thomas says, yep, any player from Chelsea's youth setup won't be a gamble. Mark says, cheers, guys. I'm guessing he's off. See you later, Mark. You're missing the best part of this conversation, unfortunately. Well, the second best part of this conversation, because that Bassett goal thing was hysterical. Unbelievable. But this will wrap up the conversation tonight quite rightly and quite nicely, because I couldn't believe this. Now, you guys, for those that have been watching the channel for a little while now, you know my opinions on HITC. I can't stand it. I can't stand that website. I will only look and read that information when there's any quotes. Because when they don't quote, they're just chatting shit the entire time. I really can't stand it. Harry says, is it Rico Henry Lee D. But yeah, this article is hysterical. Wilshere was basically saying that Pellegrini is the reason why his first season didn't go right. Apart from the fact we hardly ever saw the bloody git for injury problems. And by the by, he said, Jack Wilshere said, it did not work out in the first year. I had a few differences with the manager, Manuel Pellegrini. I thought I had finally put them aside, but then I went through the same thing again. There was a lack of communication, and he didn't listen to what I was trying to say. I was quite low. I picked up a groin injury and had to manage my training load, but the old manager was like, if you don't do training, you don't play. And that's it. That's the only part of the quote. Well, to be honest with you, Wilshere shut up, quite frankly, because that's the whole point. That's David Moyes' mantra as well. If you're not running, you don't play. If you're not training, you don't play. He has no God-given right to play for any football club if he's not fit enough, and at the very, very least, if he's not training. He has no right to play for a football club. You can't make this up. This is how big this kid's ego is. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. He's got a lovely wife, lovely kids. If you saw that documentary snippet thing that came out last summer, summer before last, I should say. But it does my head in. It really, this is what it does my head in. This is modern day Premier League footballers. They know everything. Somebody of Manuel Pellegrini's stance knows nothing in comparison to Jack Wilshere. That's the way he's coming across, and it really, really does my head in. Fo says about Bakayoko. Bakayoko is good, but I don't want him. Mark says, just thinking. Oh, he's back. Just thinking the guys about Nandez. Still here. Gingers have staying power. Harry says, do you watch HICC videos? No, I don't, because I stay away from the website and the social media as much as possible. Fo, absolutely right. D. Lee says, the only difference Pele and Wiltz had was what powder out to in the machine. Arian says, Jack, there is a lot of miscommunication with you and your body. Janoi says, Jack Wilshere is playing life on easy mode right now. He doesn't want to play. He's happy to get 100 grand a week to sit at home, to be honest. Yeah. Fo says, we won't sign Nandez. We have Souček now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's Andy, I'm gonna reiterate this one, because I know what you're saying, but I don't think this is fully what you're saying. So I'm gonna say it's a Billy Big Bollocks got the knock back from Pellegrini. Colin says 5 games a day when the Premier League returns, all on TV if reports will be to leave. Yes, Colin, welcome, mate. Good to see you. We did talk about that earlier today. There's actually going to be, as I said, just to recap for you, there's football from 12 until 8 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays, and 2 games on 6 at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, and also for that matter, it's also going to be interesting to see who gets it as well. For that matter, are we going to see games on the BBC? Are we going to see games on ITV? Are we going to see it on Sky? We know we're going to see it on Sky Sports and BT, but what percentage of those? I mean, obviously Sky's going to get the predominant share of those games, but what percentage is BT going to show? What percentage is Amazon going to get out of this as well, for that matter? Because they've still got a contract. Let's not forget they've got a contract with the Premier League for 5 seasons. They were able to negotiate the testing season between Christmas and between Boxing Day and New Year's Day. That went down massively well for them. They had so many new accounts signed up for that period. So many new accounts. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens on when it comes to the TV broadcasts. Chris is late to the party. Hello, Chris. Hope you're doing all right, mate. Janai says Jack Wilshere won't leave either because no other club will match his wages. Agreed. He's stuck at West Ham now for the next couple of years. Chris asks, John, what's your job? Sorry if it's personal to you. I work in finance. Ariane asks, JP, Trevor Sinclair or Mikel Antonio? Sinclair all day long, mate. All day long. Janoi says, whoever was behind the signing has a BTEC in business management. Mate, it was a PR stunt. Big PR stunt. To try and get people back on side with the board. That's what it was. That's what it was. And Richard Thomas says Trevor Sinclair class. Agreed. Definitely. Chris Houghton says Payet or Nautovic. I hate both equally, quite frankly. Technical ability, Payet. But people just as I hold both of just as in high contempt as the other. But yeah, guys, that's Andy Walsh says, yep, love tricky Trev. Agreed, 100%. Love Trevor Sinclair, and I still keep an eye out for what he says as well, for that matter. Really do keep an eye out what he says, because a lot of the time he's spot on. I wouldn't say no to having Sinclair in the backroom staff at some point. Imagine the training. Imagine the pointers he can give Antonio and Bowen and Diangana. And Holland, for that matter. It'd be great. It'd be really good. Fo says Payet. Harry says, sorry, but I love Payet. One of the reasons I became a fan. Fair enough. Janoi says, thanks for the show, JP. Stay safe. Catch you tomorrow. Yep, I'll catch you tomorrow, mate. Yep. Same time, same bat channel. Mark English says Sinclair seems very down to earth. Agreed. Chris says, did you see the training videos on YouTube? Yeah, we talked about them the other day. Too short for my liking, but understandable nonetheless. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Ariane says Antonio and Sinclair are very similar. They're not. They're really not. You may look at it on the highlight stuff, but no, their attention to detail are massively different. Their work ethic is massively different. The crossing abilities and eye for a goal are massively different. But guys, thanks very much. We've hit the hour mark pretty much now. So as I said at the start of the video, if you want to get some really nice retro gear, not just West Ham, there's nice retro, there's nice Admiral and Umbro track jackets, polo shirts, and that as well. All down here in this retro. There's a link in the description below. Go check those out, guys. For those that are watching the repeat, depending on your point of view or your location in the world, put your comments in the comment section. Any questions you want answered, put your comments in the comment section below, and I will answer them in the next day. But yeah, guys, thanks very much for your time. If you like the video, then by all means, please do click the like button. It was nice to see that this video got 2 likes before it went live. So thanks very much to those 2 that did do that. We've had 1 subscriber leave, unfortunately, which is understandable, because Even though this has probably been one of the funniest and best conversations we've had for a while. Somebody has unsubscribed while we've had the broadcast, but it's fine. It's not a problem. We do have obviously this time we've got the target of 1600 subscribers. I was about to say £1,600, then 1600 subscribers if you want me to do a full gig with this guitar. So by all means, please do sign up if you're and subscribe if you're watching this, because there's still 30% of you guys that are watching these videos aren't subscribed. So please go ahead and do so. And as Andy says, same place, same time tomorrow, guys. See you all then. Have a great evening, everybody. Look after yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Take care.